Hey, hi everyone. Kwanzaa. I know, it's like, what? Kwanzaa. What do you know about Kwanzaa? I don't know much. This holiday season, I decided, since a lot of my stuff was, again, tailored towards, I guess, the pagan Santa Claus type environment, and of course, I don't reference religion or spirituality very much on this channel. But, everyone celebrates Christmas, even though it's a Christian holiday. And there's more than just Christianity in the world. I'm not disparaging Christianity. I'm just saying that there's more than one belief system. I encourage everyone to go and check out all you can, because some of that stuff's pretty interesting, especially how they overlap, right? There's always a great flood. There's lots of key components to that. But anyways, what I want to talk to you today is something I don't know very much about, so I'm going to be again referencing Kwanzaa.com and Wikipedia, which is always a pure source of good information, but it's quick to discuss a little bit about Kwanzaa. So what is Kwanzaa? All right, well, according to Wikipedia, Kwanzaa is an annual celebration of African American culture from December 26th to January 1st. So basically from, in our world's view, from Boxing Day to New Year's Day, right? It accumulates in a communal feast. Who doesn't love feasts? Called Kamaru, and that's usually on the 6th day. Now, so how old is it? Right? We talked about Hanukkah going back to the 2nd century BCE, right? There's Christianity, right? 2024 years ago, right? But Kwanzaa is very new to the party in that sense. It was created by an activist called, her name was Mulana Karajia. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's based on African harvest traditions from various parts of East, West, and Southeast Africa. Kwanzaa was first celebrated in 1966, which, there you go, which would make it 58 years old. Oh, man. Kwanzaa is just a little older than me. Well, not a little older, but you know what I'm saying, right? So since it's only like less than 6 years old, right? You got to figure, well, does it have a big following? Well, this is just from the United States, but the number of Americans who celebrate Kwanzaa, they figure, is between 500,000 to about 2 million people. So 500,000 to 2 million people, which is a decent sized number, all things considered, for a relatively new practice like this. So it was created in 1966 during the aftermath of the Watts riots. Okay, for those of you unfamiliar with the Watts riots, there's known also as the Watts Rebellion or Watts Uprising. That took place in Watts neighborhood in surrounding areas of Los Angeles. Let me get the dates. From August 11th to 16th, 1965. The riots were motivated by anger at the racist and abusive practices of the Los Angeles Police Department, as well as grievances about, employment discrimination, residential segregation, and poverty in LA. And it started over, of course, when a young man, Marguerite Fry, was 21 years old, was pulled over for drunk driving. He failed a sobriety test. They attempted to arrest him. The person resisted with the assistance from his mother. Then, of course, there was a physical confrontation, which he was struck in the face with a baton, witnessed by a group of onlookers. Rumors, of course, said presidents attacked a pregnant woman, all that kind of stuff, and then it built from there. And then 6 days of civil unrest followed. Right? That kind of stuff can happen like that, and I like to say that was a different time, but there's still incidents that are happening today, as we see if we watch the news. Nearly 14,000 members of the California Army National Guard helped suppress any disturbances, which resulted in 34 deaths and over $40 million in property damage. It was, of course, the city's worst unrest or riot since the Rodney King riots of 1992. I don't remember the Watts riots because that was before I was born, but I do remember the Rodney King riots and witnessing that on TV. And yeah, just goes to show you how I'll say one incident that was recorded and shown to everybody, right? A lot of times what you think is happening is not what's happening. And that's a whole other story, and I'm not here to talk about the media or anything like that, but that's the meaningful practice that birthed Kwanzaa, right? Now, let me say that better. That was, out of all that civil unrest, gave birth to Kwanzaa as a way to celebrate African Americans and what they bring to the table, celebrate their culture, all that kind of stuff, right? Racism isn't good. Like, it helps out nobody, right? Like, what's, if you're not working together, then you get situations like this, and it's just stupid. Needless people die because of that. Okay. So, as I mentioned before, black separatist, Mulana Karenjina. I apologize. My pronunciations are way horrible. In 1966, aftermath again, like as I said, the Watts riots, as a non-Christian, specifically African-American holiday. Now, Karenjina said his goal was to give black people an alternative to the existing holiday of Christmas, give black people an opportunity to celebrate themselves in their history, rather than simply imitate the practice of the dominant society. So it's remembering who you are, your culture, and who you are as a people. That's how I take that, right? And Karenjina was also a figure in the Black Panther movement in the 60s and 70s. And the creation of such holidays also underscored the essential promise that you must have a cultural revolution before the violent revolution. The cultural revolution gives identity, purpose, and direction. So once you kind of can break into the cultural realm, is the way I read it, and believe me, I'm no expert. But once you kind of present what you're doing there, people buy into that, and that grows. And it grows to the point where people either recognize your rights or things will happen to escalate that in a potentially violent manner. Right? If you disagree with me and what I'm saying, definitely throw it in the comments. Because I'm just trying to give my view as I learn this, because this is new to me as well. So the name Kwanzaa derives from the Swahili phrase Matunda ya Kazima. Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits. Now again, I may have said that wrong. Now, first fruits festivals exist in southern Africa and are celebrated in December and January with the southern solstice, right? So that's just, it was decided to spell the holiday's name with an additional A, so we'll have a symbolic 7 letters, okay? So in the early beginning, Karenjina said it was meant to be an alternative to Christmas, right? Christianity was a predominantly white religion. As Kwanzaa gained mainstream adherence and attention, he altered his position. So anyone who's practicing Christianity, they wouldn't be alienated. And that Kwanzaa was not created to give people an alternative to their own religion or religious holiday. Many African Americans celebrate Kwanzaa, do so in addition to observing Christmas. So hey, it's not one or the other, right? It was created in California, which were all cool things kind of get created, and then it spread outside the United States. Now, there are 7 principles to Kwanzaa, and I'm going to butcher this, so I apologize, but it's Kwanzaa So. And Kwanzaa celebrates what its founders call 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Again, Kwanzaa So, the 7 principles of African heritage. They were developed in 1965, a year before Kwanzaa itself. The 7 principles are Swahili words, and together comprise the Kawadia, or common philosophy, a synthesis of nationalist, pan-Africanist, and socialist values. So it's kind of a collection of all those. So each of the 7 days of Kwanzaa, which again, day 6 is when they have the communal feast, but each day is dedicated to one of the principles. So day 1 would be Umoja, or unity, to strive for and to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Second one is self-determination. Kalachalugira, to define and name ourselves as well as to create and speak for ourselves. I don't want to be disrespectful to the names, so I think I'm just going to go with the English versions from now on, but I want to make sure that was represented. Maybe I'll put something up later that has the writings on it. I just don't want to appear disrespectful to that. So number 3 would be collective work and responsibility, which is to build and maintain a community together, make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. So really community first approach. Cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Purpose is day 5, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Number 6 is creativity, to do so always as much as we can in the way that we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it, so always improve. And then 7 is faith, to believe with our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Okay. Kwanzaa celebratory symbols include a mat or a makaka, on which other symbols are placed. A kanera, a candle holder for 7 candlesticks. Mishmu Saba, 7 candles. Mazeo is crops. The Hindi is corn, represents the children celebrating. The corn may be part of the holiday meal. This is all placed on the blanket. Unity cup for commemorating and giving thanks for African ancestors, and then gifts. You know, there's also, it's a black, red, and green flag. It's a Zato Saba poster, and African books and artwork, all to represent values and concepts reflective of American culture and contribution to community building and reinforcement. Okay. So families celebrating Kwanzaa decorate their households with objects of art, colorful African cloth, such as kente, especially the wearing of kaftans by women, and fresh fruits that represent African idealism. Right? So children are included in the ceremonies to give respect and gratitude to the ancestors. Right? It's quite interesting when you think about this is only like less than 6 years old. And I'm not going to go into absolutely everything, but I do think that it's interesting to know just what that's about, and that's what this is. From a guy who doesn't know anything about this, and someone who loves to learn about other people's viewpoints, religious aspects, spirituality, belief systems, and it's kind of cool to see how other people worship or how other people celebrate holidays, or even what their holidays are based on their, practices, whether it's faith-based or not. So, that is Unemployable Counselor's meanderings through the origin of Kwanzaa. If you want to learn more, check it out. You can go online, Kwanzaa.com. I was checking on Wikipedia. And, or even better yet, go to the library, read a book. Right? People went through a lot for this. You read about those riots, people died. Things happened there, and all because people were treated based off the color of their skin, and stereotypes and bigotry. And why? That doesn't need to continue that way, is what I'm saying. It shouldn't. There's no way. It's just baffles my mind, right? It's what, it's who people are and what they do is what matters. It doesn't matter if they're purple or whatever, but it's the society I think we live in, where they won't even talk about some of that stuff in the history books anymore. If you don't know it, there's a good chance a person could repeat it. We don't want that. Okay. From everybody here at the Unemployable Counselor, happy Kwanzaa. Happy holidays. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.